Hello everybody! I have been on vacation, so it's been a while since I've done a video. But today I wanted to share with you something I've been thinking about for quite a while. We are moving into what most people call eclipse season with an equinox in between. Needless to say, we're entering into continued times of transformation, which really is what this journey is all about, right? So I want to talk a little bit about what you might be able to expect in this journey over the next month, 2 months, next couple of months, I'll say. But in general, during the awakening journey, what we're going to talk about today is one of the primary things that happens. And when we start to recognize how this process works, we'll understand why we may be presented back with some of the same things that we've worked on previously. Needless to say, we're going to start talking about that here real quickly. I'm going to cover that, also give you some dates for the eclipses, and as I always say, take what resonates, toss the rest aside, and I hope you take a few things away for the puzzle of your own journey. So thank you to everybody who's joining me today, all of you who have always been here, and those of you who are new. I'm Carolyn Zaiser. I'm an intuitive guide and a channeler and an energy healer, and I offer these channeled messages for your awakening, ascension, and your life journey. So down below in the description box, you're going to find a way to get more free content through my email list. What you'll get is a couple videos initially after you follow that link, kind of telling about my journey, so you know a little bit more about me and the spiritual awakening journey. And then you're going to every week get a neat little channeled poem from the Light Keepers, who are the group of angelic beings that I channel for your awakening, ascension, and life journey. All right, so anyway, that said, you'll be able to get some really cool messages and information every week, typically on Fridays. So join me there if you would like. All right, anyway, needless to say, we're going to get going today, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about the times we have coming up. But I guess maybe more importantly, one of the big underlying premises of the spiritual awakening journey. So as we know, the spiritual awakening journey is one where we're coming back into ourselves and really starting to understand and realize who we are ultimately, and then shedding what no longer serves us. Now that's really generalizing, but the shedding what no longer serves us is really what I want to talk about today, because we're moving into eclipse season, which is going to help amplify and accelerate a lot of this and give a lot of opportunity, okay? But also be able to show you again where there may be some more work that needs to be done, okay? And we're going to talk about how that works and a little bit of, like I said, what you might be able to expect. So we've got a partial lunar eclipse on September 18th. Then we roll right into the equinox on, I believe it's the 21st, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, maybe it's the 22nd, excuse me, of September. And then we have the annual solar eclipse on October 2nd. So we got a lot going on here coming up shortly. And as you may recall, if you watched my September energy update, this is a time where we're really, and I don't always remember my channelings after I do them, but I know we were talking about like the cloaked figures of those of us who are moving forward into that new gateway, into this new passageway, opening this new door. It's a new time to come. It's a huge new time to come for the collective. Now, eclipses are about breaking things down. They are also about showing us. They're showing us again in a way that might amplify what we haven't seen before. Eclipses are also for continued transformation, okay? So that said, just know we're going into a lot of energies, a lot of opportunity, okay? A lot of opportunity. And I know this journey is not easy and it's hard, and we get confronted with all this stuff that we have to deal with, pain and suffering lots of times, shifts and changes, decision making, and our whole lives can be just set upside down. And yet, at the same time, there is beauty in that, because it is sending us on the path that we need to be on and really uncovering who we truly are and the things that don't serve us, and what that then allow us, as we make those decisions and choices, that then allow us to move forward in the journey that we're meant to live. Okay, so I want to talk specifically about the idea of what no longer serves us. All right, and I'm going to use a couple examples, but it basically this covers the examples I give you will kind of cover all the kinds of things that we can be presented with. But as we go through this awakening journey, well, let's back up. Before we go through the awakening journey, we're just kind of living the human life. To one degree or another, we're conscious or we're not. Most of us are pretty unconscious to what's going on. We're just living the 3D journey. And we get in patterns that can be established. We're not going to talk about past lives because those certainly apply here, but we're going to just talk about this lifetime. Patterns of responding, of behaving, of being, of creating that persona of who you are, starting in the familial, typically the familial relationships that we have that start to get established, like building blocks kind of who we are, right? How we relate to others, the kinds of love relationships we have, the choices we make for ourselves. Do we give our energy away, or do we also give energy to ourselves? There's all kinds of things, right? So we create patterns. The building blocks of who we become is that human persona. And then what starts to happen, particularly if we are more in what I'll just call the more unconscious way of being with ourselves and not seeing those patterns. And it's hard when we're young, right? In our teens and our 20s and even in our 30s. And a lot of us don't even see what has been going on until even further down the road. And awakening can be key to being aware of what we've done to ourselves all along, right? Because remember, this is the inner journey. A huge, massive part of this awakening journey is the inner journey, coming back to ourselves, because we've been taught for so long that we just start to give ourselves away, okay? And we just keep giving energy away, all right? Very often we are left with next to nothing for ourselves. And again, this is to one degree or another, and it can be in certain areas of your life. You may give to yourself in certain ways, but then you just exhaust yourself and give way too much, like work, for example. Personal relationships, overgiving and not having balance in that, all right? So what starts to happen is as we wake up, we are brought into a greater awareness of the things that we've established as patterns in our life that no longer feel good, okay? Not that they felt good before, but they were a pattern that established as normal for us. And now, as we start moving through this journey, we get examples handed to us. We get to practice, and we get more of that. We get more of that. We become more aware, and we're like, this doesn't feel good any longer. It is starting to drain us. Sometimes we can be taken down to the floor, right? We see all kinds of circumstances like that, right? Until all of a sudden we go, no, I can't do this anymore. I cannot do this anymore, in whatever part of our human journey that is. And then what we do is we start to understand that we need to make that shift and change. Now, here's the thing. That shift and change, as many of you already know, these are these massive patterns. These shifts and changes, to come out of those, it's not just a one and done. It's usually never a one and done. The most perfect example of this is in romantic relationship, okay? There is, and we all know people that have done this, we've also done this very likely ourselves, where we see a pattern of relationships, romantic relationships, or even friendships, okay? We can use that, but we're just going to use romantic relationships, where the pattern established in that relationship keeps repeating itself, relationship after relationship, kind of maybe in a different form, morphing from one way. It can be kind of shadowy, but it's the same thing. It's the same pattern of what I'll just call kind of dysfunction or giving ourselves away. And I could give you a gazillion examples of that, but that's not what I'm here to do. But you understand what I'm talking about, in that as we gain awareness and we start looking at the big picture of our life, and we look back and go, oh God, that happened here. Wait a minute. That happened here. Oh my God, that happened here. It's the same thing. There's threads of the same thing. And these were successful relationships. Yes, I learned something out of them, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we had our good times, blah, blah, blah. In general, though, this was not the right energy for me. It was not the right vibration. I was accepting things that didn't serve me, or I was doing things that didn't serve me. I was giving too much of myself away that didn't serve me. These patterns, right? And then as we go through the awakening journey, we start to become more aware. We start to see more. We start to understand that we can't feel this way anymore. We can't keep doing this. And so we start making decisions to not do that any longer, which oftentimes can mean an ending of a relationship, right? So in our example, so the relationship ends and we feel like, oh my gosh, I've got this figured out now. I don't know, I'm going to make this up, codependent as could be, or I had a certain style of attachment that didn't serve me, and it was replicating across every single relationship and taking me to my knees, and I need to change this. So you'd make the change. You get out of that relationship. You move forward with yourself, all right, thinking you're done. You've completed this journey. But what I have found over and over and over again with others and myself is the minute we think we are done and we have learned every single thing we need to know about that and it'll never happen again, guess what? We get opportunity to practice. We get opportunity thrown to us, maybe even many years later, where we think we've taken care of all of this and that we would never get into that patterned way again. Oh no. And it's handed to us on a platter. And guess what? Here we are again. And all of a sudden, that same pattern shows up. Because remember, these kinds of things, and remember, relationship is just one of them. But you're going to be able to, I think, use this to look at your own journey, big picture, your early journey, moving up to present day. What are the things that don't feel good? What are your patterns? Okay? And many of you have already worked on this. But what I will tell you now is, it's the dust in the corners. It's going to come back for practice. Doesn't mean you don't consciously get it. But it's, can you recognize it when it shows up at your doorstep, so you don't give your energy away into something that still no longer serves you. Now remember, everybody that comes in our way is here for us to learn from. And yeah, they do not present out well lots of times at all, as we do for others too, okay? So you may be confronted again with another opportunity, very likely, very, very, very likely, to practice and to understand right away, oh, whoa, big red flag. No, this doesn't feel right. I can feel it. I can remember we gain greater sensitivity, we gain greater clarity of our intuitive knowing, because that's where we get that sense of something's not right. And we end it. All right. However, what happens in this journey where that gets brought back to us, these kinds of patterns in our life can be so insidious and so ingrained in us that we don't even see the forest for the trees when it starts to happen, when it's presented to us again. Remember, this is for our growth and our journey. It's all good, but it doesn't always feel like it, right? So we think we're getting handed to us something that is new and wonderful and shiny and beautiful and not at all what we had in the past. But guess what? Oftentimes, it has kernels of what we carried forward from those days of having the patterned response, the patterned relationship, okay? The patterned way of treating ourselves, the patterned way of allowing ourselves to go down a path that we know doesn't serve us, but we still have a bit of those blinders on, right? So it's what they call, and many of you know this, they've used a metaphor of the dust in the corners. So think about cleaning a room in your house, right? So you come in and, I don't know, you're vacuuming or you're cleaning, you're vacuuming, you think, oh man, this is great, it's all done. And then you walk back in later on and you look in the corners and there's like these little dust gnats, these little dust things, these little dust bunnies, right? That you didn't get the first time around. That's the same idea. We are cleaning out like nobody's business, okay? So you're going to be presented back, particularly those of you who are new to the awakening journey. I just want you to know this, okay? It's very likely to be presented back with these kinds of things for you to go, whoa, oh, whoa, I thought I had really taken care of this. Well, here's the thing. The reason it's brought back to you is for you to go, oh yeah, whoa, oh no, I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again. And then to choose you, to choose yourself, to choose you, okay? In not going back into an old pattern of things that didn't serve you, whether it be, in our example, relationship. So, in my example, meeting somebody who presents back, maybe in a subtle way, but some of those same characteristics, causing you, right, that relationship, causing an energy between the two of you where you start responding in the old way, okay? So that is a unstable energy that causes that, and you're going to know this. You're going to know the feeling, okay? And you can look back on, again, we're using the example of relationship. You can look back on a relationship and go, oh, wow, that one was easy. That felt so good. That felt so right. That felt wonderful. And you might have had that, right? You might have had that beautiful, in sync, energetic relationship connection, balanced where you were serving yourself, balanced where they were being served, right? In that relationship. However, we do step out of that. And then we have to go practice things that don't serve us any longer, that we have brought through, again, I will say from past lives, very, 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 very often, that we don't understand, but that are showing up in this lifetime as well. So what will then happen is you'll be presented with an unstable energy, not one that is balanced with you, for you to be able to go, and these are usually difficult relationships. They're not the nice inflow relationships where you're both balanced in yourselves and having stable energy between the two of you, which is basically, in human form, healthy respect, boundaries, all that good stuff, right? Anyway, so what you're going to see then is these series of potentially of relationship. Again, in this one example, you can take this to anything else. Work, like I said, we'll maybe give you a couple other examples. Anyway, so what's happening then at this point is you have this unstable energy and you're bumping up against each other energetically, and that's where the strife and the disconnect and the giving oneself away and what doesn't serve us, right, in that relationship. So we get out of that relationship. We go into another one because we haven't reflected. We don't understand. We don't know. We're not conscious, right? We're not conscious. We just know it didn't feel good. But guess what? That energy's still there. We never understood that. We never consciously became aware that, oh my gosh, I have a pattern, and how do I make a point of working on myself so I understand that it's about my internal growth, my self-respect, my journey forward, where I will then energetically attract somebody else in my journey that matches me, right? The growth and the work that I've done. So you go through this growth process, but I'm going to tell you right now, in eclipse season, this is why I'm telling you this, in eclipse season, very, very likely we will be brought back on a silver platter, maybe something little, maybe something big, where you'll go, oh, I remember that. Oh, this looks attractive. Or, oh, let's try this out. And then, oftentimes, the dust in the corners are going to show up in this. And I've seen this happen with a lot of people where they feel like, I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever, that new job that is not draining me dry anymore, and like I have my entire career, picking jobs that just suck the life out of me, and I have to be the person that does everything kind of thing. Remember, internal journey, right? So you've grown to that point. But then what happens is those dust in the corners get presented back to us because we are cleaning house. We are truly cleaning house right now. And in eclipse season, I will tell you right now, you may be presented back with something that looks super attractive. And yeah, you may step your toe in it, but more than likely not, it's going to be like touching a hot burner. Like, a little kid where they touch something hot and they immediately move away, which I guess we all would do, right? But not knowing, right? Not knowing that it was a hot burner. Okay, well now you're going to be more consciously aware, and not in a way that is defensive or anything, but you're going to know by the way it feels. Now, what I want you to do is not get discouraged if this happens to you. This is part of the process. This is to ensure that we do not do those things that have not served us again down the road, all right? So that we can attract into us the kinds of things that we do deserve and desire. So don't get discouraged if something shows up during eclipse season, or honestly, I'm just going to tell you, it's just more amplified during eclipse season, potentially, for some of us. And I'm not saying all of us, but definitely it can happen. But in the awakening journey, this is a part of the process. So I never want you to get discouraged over something showing back up that you're like, oh my God, I thought I was done with either these kinds of people, these kinds of jobs, this kind of blah, blah. But what it's designed to do is for you to go, okay, wait, where are the dust in the corners? What have I not maybe gained in my learning, in my conscious awareness? Because remember, it's a constant story of growth. What more do I need to understand? Now, remember, if you're just seeing it, and kind of touching it and it's hot and you're like, I'm not doing that again, to one degree or another, or if you drown in it again, that's going to tell you where you're at on your growth journey. But do not get discouraged. This is what we are here for. And I haven't even talked about past lives, all right? I'm just talking about your current incarnation. So your patterns can very likely, and I've seen this over and over again in my entire journey, has to do with past life patterns that didn't serve me, that came roaring in this lifetime, that I then repeated in this journey as well as in my later adult life. So I have been through this. I've seen it over and over with other clients and friends. And what I will say to you is, again, do not get discouraged. This is part of the process. You just keep digging for gold. Okay? You just keep getting the rubble away and you're digging for the gold. But remember, when you have this happen to you, it's for you to go, okay, wait, wow. Oh, wow, I knew that wasn't for me. And I said no. And I went my way. Yay! Okay, so maybe you don't have any dust in the corners, but you got presented with it to see where you're at. And maybe, again, you drowned in what was being presented to you, and you're feeling horrible about this, like, how in the world could I allow myself to have this happen again? I did it again. Why? That's the time for reflection. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore it, because it'll come back again, all right? In an opportunity to practice until we get it right. I've seen it over and over again. So that's really what I wanted to share today. We are going to be in really heightened, amazing transformative energies. Things where, or the types of energies where the universe is giving us a helping hand. I mean, that's what we're getting in these eclipse energies. And really having our spiritual self represented in these eclipses, as well as these opportunities to let go, as well as turning points, as well as new beginnings. So this is a beautiful time. I want you to know this. The thing is, the beautiful times present energies for us to become even more greatly aware. All right, more greatly aware. This is an inner journey that will then be reflected out in our outer world. And this is how we get to the collective in general, moving to what we call our new earth. All through this inner journey, this individual journey of finding the dust in the corners after you've done this work. So what I will say to you today is embrace these times to come. Be very aware, be conscious, keep moving forward in understanding who you are and what is being presented to you to learn and grow from. Okay, everybody, I think we're going to wrap up today. Just remember, we've got eclipse season coming up. I really want you to embrace this opportunity that you have coming forward, being very consciously aware of what you're seeing in your journey and then working through those things. Again, you can work with me if you'd like through purplerainhealing.com, where I guide you through these kinds of events and assist you in either channeled messages session, one-on-one mentoring, where we continue uncovering the journey, and or distance energy healing. So with that today, I hope you've enjoyed the video and thank you so much for joining me.